Well, well, well. Looks like Ezra the Killer Miller is back in the news. But don't worry, it's not for attacking anyone. He's learned to do it in private now. Reject Nation, how's it going? Thanks so much for clicking on this video. If you can leave a like, that'd be aight. Oh, that's my new catchphrase moving forward. Yeah, it's not gonna stick. So a couple things to talk about that all revolve around how reportedly WB is considering replacing Ezra Miller as the Flash. And there's a very specific person that they are potentially courting to fill in the shoes for Barry Allen. And I also want to talk about why. And don't get me wrong, when I say this, I think he is perfect on the show, but about why I don't think this demand for Grant Gustin to replace Ezra Miller is the best move moving forward. But first things first, I saw this trending on Twitter, the best place for all news, thank you Elon Musk. It's being reported by Screen Geek. Now, I'm not too familiar with this outlet. They could be a crock of shit for all I know, or they can have the most insane credibility. I'm not one to speak on it, but it's being reported by them that Dylan O'Brien is being courted to replace Ezra Miller. Now, I'm assuming it's not to reshoot the Flash movie, but to take over, anything that involves the Flash, whether it be solo films or crossover appearances after that film finally comes out in 2045. Now, we've done a couple of videos talking about the whole Ezra Miller situation combined. They're like 25 minutes in total in-depth discussions. One talking about Ezra's arrest, the second one about Ezra's second arrest. Now, personally, I do think Ezra Miller should be replaced. I mean, yeah, for Ezra's own well-being as well, so Ezra can take some time off, especially if Ezra seems intent on never speaking to the public about it. I mean, he doesn't have to, it'd just be, nice to address some of this, or if WB can. And for those who only focus on Ezra's mental health struggles, saying like this could be a Robert Downey Jr. situation, have a chance to prove themselves. That's not like a one-to-one comparison. In order for Ezra to make a comeback, Ezra would need to go away for a while to come back. And Ezra clearly needs to do some mental health healing, which is a long way to go. And at this point, it's just one too many physical assaults against women. So maybe we should be more concerned about that and them. It probably doesn't help to keep Ezra in these like major blockbusters. Just my opinion. We talk more about it in depth there, but I'm just going to leave it at that for this video. Transition as far as Dylan O'Brien goes. I like this guy. I think he's a cool actor. I feel like we were just talking about how he was one of the casting rumors for Nightwing potentially. I mean, I thought it'd be a great pick for Nightwing too, but the Flash, I could take him as the new Flasher. Now, I haven't seen Teen Wolf, nor have I seen Love and Monsters. I hear he is fantastic in those movies, but I do like his work a lot in The Maze Runner. I liked his work a lot in a movie I didn't really like a lot, American Assassin, and I thought he played a really funny satirical version of himself in the latest season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Just that body of work alone showed me that he could really do the action side of being a superhero based off Curb Your Enthusiasm. He could definitely do comedy, which I think is necessary for playing Barry Allen, because I think to play Barry Allen you got to have like some comedic chops, but I normally associate Dylan O'Brien as a cool dude. Whereas Barry Allen, I think that, unabashedly geeky, socially awkward nature to his character is so essential to have when portraying this person. That's the end of the sentence. Maybe does some of those mannerisms and quirks in the other things I haven't seen, but even if he hasn't, he's clearly a skilled enough actor where I'm sure he could pull all that off really well. So if he ends up being the replacement, I don't think it would be a bad choice at all. I think he has the right look for Barry Allen. Although, I can see, remember like when Andrew Garfield was first cast as Spider-Man, there was that side of the, at least the internet that was like, oh, too sexy for Spider-Man. But he was perfect. It's all about the performance at the end of the day. While I do normally associate him as, honka honka honka, I don't imagine it would be the exact same complaint. And I think he's truly a talented enough actor who can showcase a different side that can embody Barry Allen. I don't want this to sound like I'm putting down, the looks of Grant Gustin and Ezra Miller. But, he just has that kind of, I wouldn't want to stand side by side with Dylan O'Brien to, protect my own insecurities. Now, that being said, the number one thing I am always hearing about when it comes to recasting Ezra Miller for the Flash is, why don't they get Grant Gustin to play him? You have a perfect Flash right there. I agree. He is perfect in that role. Absolutely perfect. Now, admittedly, I have only seen up to the first 5 seasons of The Flash. I did fall off the show, but I can't imagine he's become a shitty actor in that amount of time. What we have in this version of the cinematic version of The Flash to really help distinguish this, like assuming that whoever the replacement is, if there were a continuation of this Barry Allen, just with a different actor in the role, I don't really see the point. Because we already seen Grant Gustin go on pretty much a really long journey with The Flash. I believe there's going to be a 9th season of this series, which started off where Barry Allen did not have powers and had powers, and then has had a whole lot of life experiences and growth over the course of the past 9 years, or 10 years for that matter, I think. I'm not sure, but it's been a long time he's been playing the character. Whereas this cinematic version of The Flash, even though they are hopping to inspired by the Flashpoint story pretty early on, the character of the Flash is still very much in his early years. The years that Grant Gustin's portrayal has already done years ago. He'd essentially just be retreading territory that is already way past with this character. The character's already much more matured. And then, just to back up my point, I did screenshot one thing because, I was like, I gotta back this up with something. And I typed in on Google, is Grant Gustin leaving The Flash? So I found this. According to Deadline, Grant Gustin is finalizing a new contract to return to The Flash for season 9, but it would only be for 1 year rather than a multi-season deal. This new contract could see the actor netting upwards of $200,000 per episode. I think he deserves more money. He's the freaking Flash. And he's also reportedly kept his involvement at 15 episodes. So, while that's not an exact, declaration of he is leaving The Flash, after a while, an actor does eventually want to give up a role. They can get tired. I don't know. I feel like Grant Gustin might want to move on to other things. While the Flash movie obviously is dealing with the multiverse, inspired by Flashpoint, something the show already kind of did and wasn't the greatest. And while I think Grant Gustin does play a perfect Barry Allen, I think ultimately it'd be him doing like a remake of it all, Like, sure, a different medium, sure, a different budget, different style, not exactly the same stories, because there'd be like some different execution to them, absolutely. But ultimately, I think it might just cause some confusion. Like, they already had an episode of Crisis on Infinite Earths where Ezra met Grant. They've already really made it crystal clear that they are two separate Barrys. So I guess maybe if they wanted to convert the Flash show into the cinematic version of the Flash, like continue the story of the show, but in the movies, by picking up where the series left off. Although I think you might, segregate some audiences because they're racist. You might leave some audiences feeling a little left out, because I feel like a lot of people have probably not seen all the seasons of The Flash. I'm sure they could play some catch up for the audience, but ultimately could leave people feeling like a little bit left out and feeling like maybe they should have watched the show before watching that. You know what I mean? I just feel like it might create a little bit more problems than necessary. In my perspective, it feels like it might be better just to keep it, clearly distinguished and separate, just for the storytelling and audience association purposes. But if you guys have an idea for how it could work that could reinvigorate Grant Gustin for the role, then let me know. I'm open to ideas. I'm an open-minded guy. I'm so open-minded. I was telling my significant other, we should be in a polyamorous relationship. Like, I could be with other girls, you could be with other girls, but you can't be with other guys, because that would make me very insecure. I don't want to deal with that level of jealousy in my life. You destroy me. For some reason, I thought this would be the right video to poke at the cliche of majority of the polyamorous relationships I see in Los Angeles. Anyway, guys, what do you think about this news? Leave your thoughts down below. You guys can subscribe and click that bell. I don't know. I feel like this is kind of a weird video for me. And hey, we will talk with you guys soon.